rely on marketing more than ever to connect with audiences. One podcast aims to make sense of it all. This is Movies and Marketing.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Go ahead, make my day.
How about news, you crazy Dutch bastard?
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Take a look around, you're at the threshold of hell!
We might as well have a good time.
I am an FBI agent!
So,
this is officially called the top 5 Merriest Christmas movie trailers, right?
yes, I guess we could put ever.
What do you mean? Shad, any movie can be about Christmas, but what movies have done the best job injecting the holiday spirit into their trailers?
The Doberman dolls, they're all gone. No, there's got to be another one here somewhere. These guys are looking for a Turbo Man?
A gentleman dog, yes.
They're looking for Turbo Man!
Turbo Man's only the hottest selling Christmas toy ever.
Where's your Christmas spirit?
Where's your Christmas spirit? A lot of people don't consider Jingle All the Way a Christmas classic, and I think that is probably a big mistake.
I think it's slowly gaining traction.
Okay, you do.
I do. I've noticed that it's playing more during the holiday season. It never used to play. I used to have to physically go out and find it. And now, right around Thanksgiving, I noticed they're delivering it to my inbox, being my television. They're delivering it right to me. And they're like, hey, maybe you want to watch this. This is not a Christmas classic, but it's something you might enjoy.
Yeah. The 5 years after it came out, nobody wanted to talk about it.
I mean, it's a great movie.
But that was also towards the end of Arnold's reign in terms of, he wasn't the biggest star in the world anymore.
No, but he was the governor of California.
Well, not yet.
No, but he was approaching that time.
Nobody wants to see my movie Jingle All the Way. Maybe I should become the most powerful man in California.
So see, he deserves the Christmas classic trophy on his wall for Jingle All the Way, I think.
Yeah. In case you didn't get it yet, and it could be confusing, on today's episode, we're talking about Christmas movies. It's the holly jolly season. And so, this being a marketing show, we're not just talking about Christmas movies, because anybody can talk about Christmas movies. We all know the best Christmas movies. They play all the time. There's only so many. The marketing angle here we're approaching this from is actually the best trailers for Christmas movies. So the best Christmas movie trailers, more specifically the most Christmassy movie trailers.
Yeah, we made it our mission to find out which ones were the best. Because quite honestly, I never remember trailers all that well unless it's something that changed my life forever.
Yeah, only the occasional one really pops out in your brain. We wanted to find out which are the ones that, not just necessarily Christmas movies, but which are the ones that go full Christmas and they were really trying to sell the Christmas in the trailer. That's what we were seeking out. So that's what we're going to go for today as we deliver our top 5 list and do that in a unique way, a little different than we've done in the past.
Let's just take a quick detour, Shad, because you don't have to slam on your brakes. Just a detour, really. It's just we're veering.
We're not suddenly stopping.
We're not suddenly stopping, creating a 50-car pileup behind us. We're not doing that. We're just, gradually veering off.
I also forget we can, insert sound effects so we don't have to make them with our mouths.
That's true.
We've got production on this show.
So people don't think that you were just stabbed or murdered, That hurts.
That's a good sound, though. We'll have to use that one again.
That's a detour. I know that sound. That's a detour.
A detour right there.
I think they're taking a detour in their podcast. Yeah. So, do you know the top 5 grossing Christmas movies of all time at the U.S. box office?
I mean, I do because we're talking about it on this podcast and we prepare.
Yeah, that's
Why
true.
don't you tell us what they are?
Yeah, a lot of listeners may not know this. I think you could probably guess, but you'd be surprised.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. So, number 5, this is surprising to me. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, made the top 5 list. $173 million at the box office domestically. The Polar Express comes in at number 4 at $183 million. Number 3 is Dr. Seuss's The Grinch at $189 million. And let's just clarify.
Which one is that? Is that the Jim Carrey one or not the Jim Carrey one?
That's not the Jim Carrey one.
That's the one that came out just last year, I think, or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In the
with
past couple of years.
Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch's
the
voice.
animated version. Okay.
Yeah. And then number 2, leading up to that, number 2 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That is the Jim Carrey version, and that came in at $260 million domestically.
I hate you. Hate, 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 hate. Double hate.
Loathe entirely.
So you're seeing a pattern here. And then a number 1, Home Alone, the first Home Alone at $285 million. So on this top 5 list, we have 2 Home Alones and we have 2 Grinches.
I know. Not a lot of variation. You said you weren't all that surprised by this list. I was. I thought this list was more surprising. I don't know. They're just not quite the movies I expect. I expected Home Alone because I remember that being just a Christmas time phenomenon when it came out. And I might have expected the Grinches or one of the Grinches or something to be on there. I guess I expected like Elf to be in there, the Santa Claus. Home Alone 2, just recently watched that with my kids because they saw Home Alone 1 and liked it. Brutal. Along with just being a retread of Home Alone 1, man, there's a lot of just uncomfortable stuff that happens that I have to explain to my kids. You can't throw bricks at people's heads without killing them.
Do you really have to have that conversation? Do you feel like...
Well, the way the movie presents it, it just like bounces off people. But there is a scene in that movie where he just stands on a building and literally it lasts 2 minutes long where he hurls, it must be 5 or 6 bricks at Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci and just hits them in the head from 2 stories up. He's just dropping them down on them and they're hitting them in the face. It's like, oh God. It like takes everything that happens in the first movie, which some of that stuff's uncomfortable, and it makes it 10 times worse because he's setting people on fire. It's not quite as cartoony as they think it is.
Since we're in a hurry, I'll make a deal with you. You throw down your camera and we won't hurt you. You'll never hear from us again.
You promise?
I cross my heart and hope to die.
Okay.
Okay, kid. Give it to me.
Direct it.
What? What? That did it! Nobody throws bricks at me and gets away with it! Come on, Marv, get up! You go this way, I'm going around the back.
Yeah, they took Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner and basically amped it up a billion times, right? Home Alone 1, successful. Home Alone 2,
cash grab.
Yeah, I get it. And I get, like they felt like they had to amp it up. But they really went to a place where I feel like they probably didn't need to go.
They chose not to go that route. Just repeat Home Alone, but make it more violent and more disturbing.
Yeah.
Anyway, other weird things. Polar Express. Are you a fan of the Polar Express?
When the kids were little, it was one of the better ones that they watched at Christmas time. So I'm not surprised that one's on there, especially because it's newer. It had a lot of newer animation.
It's not bad. I just feel like, that was in the beginning of that, what do they call that? Motion capture animation.
Yeah.
And so everybody has the weird dead eyes.
Well, you know what they say. It's a thought that counts.
Dead eyes. Dead eyes.
They could redo that. Keep all the voices, keep everything that happens, just redo the animation now and make that so much better.
Yeah, that's probably true. And they probably will, knowing Hollywood. But yeah, that one I'm not surprised, especially because a lot of the older movies, we always talk about this in context to when they came out. $50 million might have been huge for that back then. But today's day and age, if you're not at 200 million, something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing that surprised me about this list. Other than that new Grinch on here, there's nothing on the top 5 from the past 10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. They're not the huge money makers you'd think they'd be. There's at least a ceiling for them. When you look at the list, outside the top 10, those are the only ones that really cross the 100 million mark. You get past that, I would have thought there'd be a whole bunch of them that made like $100 million, because I would think you make a pretty good Christmas movie, release it at Christmas time, you're going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, do you think, I'm just posing this question, do you think that maybe that's also part of the problem, right, for them, is that you have a limited window? Because you think about it like this, we had this discussion on Speaking Human about Christmas songs, right? When Christmas is over, people pack it away, right? They're packing that stuff away. They don't want to think about it again until the coming year. So if you're talking about box office numbers and a movie being released around Christmas, you better open it up well before Christmas, in my opinion. Like after Thanksgiving.
Right after Thanksgiving, and then you have till basically after New Year's.
Yeah. You're thinking about the new year. Very limited window, so I could see maybe that's part of their problem. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you might have a point. And also, you got to remember, like, the Christmas time is when they stuff in all these big movies that they're trying to get in there that everybody wants to see. That
Star Wars.
Yeah. So there's like the Star Wars movies in there, along with here's all the movies that the studios hope will win the Oscars that they're trying to get out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's tough competition out there. So tough sledding, as they like to say.
Yeah, but that's a good point. You don't get any residual into January. Most movies would have maybe 8 weeks. They could go beyond if it's successful, but a Christmas movie, you got to get people right now.
Yeah. On the plus side, the replay factor, though, for years to come, beyond the box office, you get a good one that people like or that grows with people over time. And man, for the next how many decades, that's just going to keep playing year after year after year. You look at a Christmas Story or a Christmas Vacation or something like that just come Christmas Day is just wallpaper getting replayed on cable.
Yeah, if they could do lifetime box office numbers for those movies, bet you'd be through the roof.
Yeah, totally.
So what qualifies as a Christmas movie, Shad? What would you say is the qualifying factors?
Christmas?
Yeah, well,
See, I'm real loose with what I think of as a Christmas movie. I think it has to be set during the season. It has to take place at Christmas time, and for me, that's about it. Even I think in my mind, I think of The Godfather as a Christmas movie because there's like one small part of it that takes place at Christmas, and I think I might have watched it at Christmas for the first time. So those two factors are all it takes for me to like associate it as a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty simple in that way. All it really needs is to be set at Christmas time. Some part of it, probably a little more than actually of The Godfather, but some significant part of the movie set during the holiday season. That's all it really takes for me. The big movie is Die Hard. That's the one that gets people all up in an uproar where they're like, is it a Christmas movie or is it not a Christmas movie?
The beginning is set at a Christmas party, Nakatomi Tower. There's Christmas music playing. It's just that simple.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. Have a few laughs.
Really, I went back and I was thinking about it. I really do need it to have two things. One is what you said, set some time around the Christmas holiday. And two, I really want to hear a Christmas song.
Okay, you need a song in there.
A great example is Lethal Weapon. Many people consider a Christmas movie.
Yeah, starts with a Christmas song.
It starts with a Christmas song, and he's stopping some bad guys in a Christmas tree farm where you go to get Christmas trees. So I do like to have a Christmas song in there.
Yeah, there's the hardliners out there. Christmas needs to be the central theme. Die Hard's not about Christmas. It's about this guy fighting terrorists. It's not really about finding the meaning of Christmas or anything like that.
Right.
Where the argument, I guess, comes from. But we're not purists like that. Not around here anyway. The interesting thing 20th Century Fox did, just last year released this new Christmas trailer they cut together for Die Hard, which was kind of what you said. They showed all the parts of the movie that are Christmassy, and they added in some of the things we're going to talk about with movie trailers that play up the Christmas angle, which are Christmas music, jingling bells. You'll always find that in a Christmas movie trailer. And a narrator saying things like, "This Christmas," or making references to holiday classics by saying things like, "Get ready to deck the halls with." So they kind of put together a trailer like that, showing all these parts of the movie that are references to Christmas and things like that to end the argument forever, showing that Die Hard is in fact a Christmas movie, which I think the majority of people would agree with.
This is John.
Nice beer.
He just wants to spend Christmas with the family.
Is Daddy coming home with you?
We'll see what Santa and Mommy can do.
But when he gets stuck at the office party,
Merry Christmas.
it'll be a holiday
Merry Christmas.
he'll never forget.
Ho, ho, ho.
Welcome to the party, pal.
This Christmas,
It's a time of miracles, so be of good cheer.
Only John can drive somebody that crazy.
get ready to jingle some bells and deck the halls with boughs of Bruce Willis,
Down to the coast, we get together, have a few laughs.
Alan Rickman,
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
together in the greatest Christmas story ever told.
I got some bad news for you, Dwayne.
Hans. Bobby. Eat it, Harvey.
Holy shit. I'm starting to get a bad feeling up here. Merry Christmas.
Die Hard.
This is their idea of Christmas. I gotta be here for New Year's.
Yeah. Do Christmas set movies like Gremlins, Trading Places, Edward Scissorhands, do they qualify in your opinion?
As I've said, everything qualifies for me.
I gotcha. Sometimes people just want to see action and adventure during Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you one more thing before we move on to our top 5 here. Movies not set during Christmas specifically or not mentioned, but set during the winter time. Would you let those fall into the Christmas movie category?
It depends on the movie.
I'm trying to think of an example and nothing specifically is coming to mind, but just thinking something in a snowy sort of setting, which gets you in kind of the Christmas mood.
Okay, great example. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, Christmas movie. They have that whole scene on Hoth, Christmas.
Yeah, Hoth, also known as the Christmas planet.
Yeah. Han Solo, Princess Leia, they're falling in love, or they're in love, It's kind of like Christmas, really, in a nutshell.
Yeah, one of the great Christmas movies of our time.
Anyway, what we're going to do now is give our top 5s and rank them by how Christmassy they are.
Yeah, so we each made a list of top 5 merriest Christmas movie trailers. And I think we have 3 that are the same on each list. So we'll talk about those 3 first, and then we'll each mention the 2 we have that are kind of unique to our list. So let's start with the ones we have the same. So I guess the first one we have in common would be the trailer for A Christmas Story, which is a classic comedy from the 1980s, much beloved film. I don't know if they still do this. Do they still play this for 24 hours on Christmas Day on cable? I guess you don't know. You don't have cable anymore.
I don't have cable, so that's really hard.
Yeah, I don't have cable either, but I know they used to do it, nonstop once Christmas Day came.
I know they still do that.
I guarantee it too.
Yeah. Since you picked that one, tell a little bit about why you picked it. What is it that made that trailer appeal to the Christmas crowd?
Well, it's just got this very family Christmassy vibe to it. It immediately kicks off with the tune of Jingle Bells playing. And I mean Jingle Bells, the song. It just has the music, not necessarily the words. And then we have a narrator who comes in telling us, in this modern age, too many people have lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas.
In this modern age, too many people have lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas.
Mom!
Hush! Shut up, Ralphie!
And then we like move right into these funny clips of this, family kind of fighting and all these kind of funny moments from this movie that's just filled with them. And this movie is one of those movies that has a lot of just iconic Christmas moments in it and Christmas imagery, trees, presents, going to see Santa Claus. So they play up all that stuff is kind of packed into this trailer. And it's very relatable to any family who's experienced Christmas together. So you get to see all that stuff. Obviously, the name of the movie is A Christmas Story, so they're gonna play it up. It's all right there, and it's packed in there, as expected. Anything else you would want to add to that, Patrick?
We talk about marketing, and we're sort of loosely tying these lists together with what was successful in terms of the marketing of the movies, as we often do, with some personal biases weaved in here all the time, not every so often, all the time. And A Christmas Story, it has the best thing going for it, and that is the title. The trailer is just really there to support that. All they have to do is not mess up the trailer.
Yeah, and this is one of those movies was released right after Thanksgiving or that Thanksgiving weekend. It was a moderate box office success, did decent numbers, but just over the years came beloved over time, and it's just one of those movies that's really built up a reputation over time.
Yeah, and it's set in Ohio. People love it here in Ohio. Just in case you're wondering and you want to come see A Christmas Story house, you should.
Do it. What else do we have in common on our top 5 merriest Christmas movie trailers list?
So we go from A Christmas Story to, let's just say it, Christmas Vacation, Chevy Chase, the Griswolds. The trailer begins with them singing Fa La 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 in the car. Narration is really important. We often talk about this, especially that very iconic narrator, in a world. And the narrator tells us all Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
To be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe. They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
Again, going back to A Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, you've got the title and you've got comedy, a Christmas that doesn't go quite as planned, and all these weird things happen. So the trailer had a lot of the things you needed to see, the holiday thematic elements, and from there, it was a winner.
One thing I also remember from the marketing of this movie when it came out was the poster and ads for it had this artwork of Chevy Chase in a Santa suit on a roof. And it was like he was getting electrocuted with the Santa hat popping up off his head.
Yeah.
Christmas lights were all around him. Very Christmassy. Again, the title is Christmas Vacation. I mean, one of the most Christmassy movies ever made, just hitting on all these things that happen with family and putting up Christmas lights, these common things, just kind of playing them up for comedy. So
yeah,
it was just kind of, making you relate to these experiences, and they're all there. A lot of good stuff there and a lot of what you would expect, I guess. It's a great one.
Yeah. What else you got on the list here? I think you should go with Home Alone.
Yep. Home Alone is our last commonality. And this was probably, if I was making my list in order, this would have been my number one, because this is the one I remembered most from this time period that it came out. Like I said, Home Alone at the time of its release was this massive thing. It was just huge. It was like a phenomenon. And they had this ad that I remember being on TV, which was set to the tune of Jingle Bells, but they made like a sing-along version of Jingle Bells about the movie Home Alone. So instead of going Jingle Bells, it was going Home Alone, Home Alone. And it even inserted these new clips of Macaulay Culkin in front of a fire wearing a Santa hat with a candy cane, But they're just showing all these clips from the movie with this Jingle Bell version of the movie.
Dashing for the plane, trying to make the flight. Come on! Mom and Dad just made a tiny oversight. As they hurry home, two robbers plan a heist. But little do they know, he's got his home turf iced. Home alone, to trick them every way. Oh, what fun it is to see two burgers get flambéed. Home Alone, Home Alone.
Yes.
I mean, what's more Christmassy than that? You have your own version of Jingle Bells where you're showing clips from this movie. And Home Alone, while not really a movie about Christmas, takes place at Christmas and is also a very Christmassy movie in certain aspects of it. And this trailer just totally played it up as this is the thing to do at Christmas. This is the Christmas movie.
What part would you say is the most Christmassy? Would it be when Macaulay Culkin, Kevin, as the character, tries to murder these two grown men?
It's either when he puts a nail through a man's foot or when he burns a man's hair off. I'm not sure. It's one of those parts. It's probably about the true meaning of Christmas.
When he gets the nail through his foot or when he stomps on all those ornaments when he comes through the window, and he cracks all those ornaments under his feet?
Oh, yeah. They're thieves, so they deserve it.
They do. They do deserve it. Yeah, a lot of hijinks, as they say, in some of these movies. Obviously, Home Alone and Christmas Vacation set in the comedic tone. So, Elf made my list. The trailer itself was very Christmassy. They start off, they show Santa Claus opening this book, which is telling a story about how he finds this baby. The baby, finds its way into his toy bag, and then the elves start taking care of him. A lot of comedy, but again, set at Christmas time, Christmas music, and the title of the movie, a big selling point, Elf.
New Line Cinema proudly presents a little holiday story. One Christmas Eve, Santa Claus got an unexpected gift of his own.
What in the name of Sam Hill?
30 years later...
Let's recite the code of the elves, shall we?
The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Very, very good. What did you think of that one as a pick?
I thought that one was good. I thought for sure it was going to make my list. And then I watched it and I was like, this plays almost more like a typical Will Ferrell trailer than it does a Christmas movie trailer. I was expecting more Christmas. It wasn't enough Christmas for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the central character.
Yeah. No, it was a good one. It was definitely good. And Elf, talk about a movie that did really well. It was actually number 6 on that list. We had the top 5 at the box office. It was number 6, 173 million in its domestic run. And we talked about how it was released November 7th and played, looks like, through January 12th.
Yeah.
So that's like stretching that window about as far as you can go.
Yeah. And it's beloved by millions.
Oh, yeah. It plays great every year. My kids, still love it. And this is going on, I guess. What was the release year on Elf?
2003.
2003. Okay. So it's like 15, 16 years old. I have a good pairing with Elf for my next one, which is Noel. Just released this year. The trailer for that is kind of more what I was expecting from the Elf trailer, which this is the movie that they released for Disney Plus with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. And this trailer is basically like a candy cane, just complete sugary sweetness, bright, colorful, and funny. It's got Joy to the World playing. It's got Underneath the Tree by Kelly Clarkson. Tons of references to Santa. It's basically like a bin of Christmas decorations you have, in your basement or wherever, and they just took it and dumped it into a movie trailer. That's kind of what it looks like and what it feels like. And it's I think if you watch this and the Elf trailer like side by side, they're kind of cousin movies or something like that.
Yes, here's my hyperactive little reindeer.
This is more of the tone I would have expected from the Elf trailer. Though Elf, is something different because it does have the Will Ferrell thing that appeals more to adults. This is more probably playing to like kids or tweens or whatever. So it's kind of a different audience, but very Christmassy on all fronts.
So here's my question to you. I pose this question. Noelle, Disney Plus. This does not get released in the box office, so...
You're saying, should it be disqualified?
Is it a little bit of a cheat? I mean, I agree with you. I think the trailer, I think you categorized it well. You picked out all the good things about the trailer, but Disney Plus, that's like the fight that Netflix has with the Oscars about, having movies that aren't in the box office.
I don't know if we had any stringent rules about it had to be released in the theater. We just said movie trailers.
And I'm just posing the question. Let's set some ground rules for clarity.
This modern age we live in, I feel like all-terrain movies can play anywhere, right? I don't know how we do that. I thought the question you were going to ask me was, why didn't they use the song Noel, Noel?
Probably because nobody likes that song.
Well, we answered that one really quick.
All right, so basically any trailer on the internet.
If you make a trailer, I'll count it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I wanted this to be professional.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
No, you made a good point. We need to draw a line somewhere now.
So, all right, well, then you got Noel on there. So the last on my list then is, you're not going to be surprised. The last on my list is Jingle All the Way. Great narrator at the beginning. First thing he says is,
every holiday season, there's one toy everyone has to have.
I want the Turbo Man action figure with the arms and legs that move, and the rock and roaring jetpack, and the boomerang shooter.
Getting it is every child's dream.
Whoever doesn't can be a real loser.
You got the doll, right?
and that's the whole premise of this movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger is tasked to go get this action figure, which he forgot to get, and in a mad dash right before Christmas goes to find this toy. And that's what this trailer is setting up to get audiences ready for this. And if you're a parent, or if you've ever been a parent, or if you understand the crisis that happens when you are trying to find something that is in high demand, very little supply, it's terrifying and in many ways very comedic in the way that you try to acquire such goods, products and goods. All the elements that you need in a Christmas trailer, perfect and succinct in this Jingle All the Way trailer, which should be, if it's not, considered a Christmas classic. Turbo Man, go get one today. What do you think of that?
Does deserve Christmas classic status just for how hard Arnold works to make that movie work. One thing about that trailer that really stuck out to me is, man, you watch that trailer, you're like, this movie looks really cheap. Did they make this for like $9? Why does this movie look so cheap?
You know, there are some scenes that probably cost them a little bit of money to do, like Turbo Man. They got a little bit of flying and stuff. It's not great special effects, but again, it's 1996. So
yeah, it had Schwarzenegger. It had to have some budget behind it. You even look at Christmas Vacation, which was made 8 years before that, and it doesn't look that cheap.
Yeah, you think Christmas Vacation looks more expensive?
It's like a better looking movie. When you look at the trailer for Jingle All the Way, it looks like a direct-to-video movie.
I don't know. I don't have that same sense or
you
feeling.
Don't have that same response, huh? I looked it up. The budget for Jingle All the Way, $60 million. Domestic box office, $60 million.
Wow.
Another 69 international, so it ended up making 129 worldwide based on Arnold's popularity, but, you know,
yeah,
evening out, made for a good deal of money.
The budget had to have included a lot of those big names at the time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure they had really good catering. Where's my salami tray?
Salami tray. Where did that come from? That was awesome. Put the cookie down. You felt like that was a good pick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. There's a lot of good stuff in there, you know. Is it as Christmassy as my last pick? I don't know. I'll let the listeners be the judge of that. The 1984 cult classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a great trailer. This trailer begins, we see a toy store. Then we see some toys. We hear the song Silent Night. Then we see a Christmas display. And then we get a gravelly narrator voice who starts in reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," just reading it straight up, telling us the classic, and we're definitely going to have to insert the audio of that narration.
Yeah.
Because as we see someone dressing up as Santa, reaching for a red fire axe off the wall, the narrative reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" suddenly starts turning scary and ominous. And then the music turns, and then the murders begin.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, things go bad. Silent night, deadly night. It's not just silent, it's deadly.
I should say that's a very interesting pick.
It's a different take. You know, they're trying to do something different. They're trying to do something horror, but they have all the elements. They've got the Christmas song. They've got the Christmas imagery. The bubbly sentiment might not be there, but beyond that, all the other pieces are there. Even the, narration and the references to this time of year, they're all sprinkled in there. The snow, the snowman, antlers, Santa. It's all kind of in there, just they're using it in a different way, and then they end up using it against you as they turn this wonderful time of year into a horrifying time of year.
Yeah. I feel like trailers do this emotional trickery. They set it up as this one thing, you think it's going to be this one thing, and then they pull the rug out from underneath you. Oh, you thought this was going to be Christmas? I wonder why you thought it was going to be Christmas. Because we led you to believe it was Christmas, but it's not.
The great thing of this time period was you weren't really watching the trailer online, so the place you were seeing these was the movie theater. That was usually it.
Yeah.
Or like on a video. If you've never seen it before, you had no idea what was coming next.
That's true. Yeah, you couldn't look at the description or the title on the screen on YouTube. You just didn't have that ability then.
Yeah, so when it took that turn, that could be a pretty surprising turn for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think those are, all around some good picks. So between the two of us, you got a little extra.
Yeah. So we're going to provide 3 Christmas movie recommendations that can be Christmas movies or not Christmas movies. A little extra, if you will. We're doing extra today.
An extra Christmas present for all the listeners out there. All right. 4 Christmas movie recommendations. Here's what I came up with. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Did you ever see that one, Patrick?
Yeah, I really like that movie.
Yeah, it's set during the Christmas season. It's kind of a mystery. We've got Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer in that. An interesting pair-up. Well worth watching. Second on the list, I've got Bad Santa. Billy Bob Thornton comedy, offensive humor, and stuff like that. So if you're into that, you'll probably enjoy Bad Santa, which is a good time. Number 3, I've got Eyes Wide Shut, which is an interesting movie set at Christmas time. Not one you want to watch with the kids. Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise, people wearing masks and having orgies. But there are some Christmas lights at parts from what I recall. So there's that. Something I think worth revisiting.
I can't believe that's on your list.
Kubrick.
I can't believe that's on your list.
That's the way everyone should spend Christmas Day, watching Eyes Wide Shut.
It's dark and twisted too. You forgot to put that.
No, people don't need to know that. Watch it with your whole family. Sit your whole family down at Christmas. Grandpa, grandma, 8-year-olds, and cue up Eyes Wide Shut.
Do not give us hate mail when you do that and it turns out poorly, because I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be like, that was Shad's fault.
It's an interesting thing to watch, I think.
It's an interesting pick for sure to be on a Christmas movie list.
Yeah, it's one of the great Christmas movies of our lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And then last on the list, I have something that's not a movie, but a Christmas special. It used to be my favorite when I was a kid. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Made by Jim Henson. It's got like Muppets. They used to play it on HBO. Always been my favorite. Got some weird kind of Muppet characters. It's a lot of fun.
You really loved that, huh?
I still love it.
Do you watch it with your kids?
I try to. They never want to watch it.
Yeah. I tried to watch just the Muppets with the kids and
Yeah, my kids are like I don't know why, they just have no interest in Muppets. I thought to try to get my kids into Muppets, maybe I would buy like 1,000 Muppets and just fill their room with them while they're sleeping so they wake up and they're all there.
Yeah, that's not terrifying.
No, I thought that might help to like make them be more comfortable with the Muppets.
Yeah, I'm sure. So my list, pretty standard list, okay? My 4 Christmas recommendations for everyone. Number 1 is Die Hard. Should be a Christmas movie. Scrooged, number 2. Scrooged never gets enough love, but that is a fantastic Christmas movie starring Bill Murray, everybody's beloved favorite comedian / actor. Number 3, Gremlins. Gremlins set at Christmas. Mogwais, horrible little creatures who multiply when you get them wet.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but I'd really like to watch Gremlins again. I haven't revisited that in probably like 20 years.
That movie still holds up.
Does it? I believe it.
Watch it again and tell me what you think now versus, the last time you saw it. And then number 4, we talked about Lethal Weapon. Again, this shows my true colors. I've got Die Hard and Lethal Weapon on my list, but you know what? I don't care. These are Christmas movies.
Well, it's some good stuff. That's 8 movies. You can basically marathon all day. That's all day Christmas right there.
Yeah, well, I'd say maybe 5, because like 3 on your list might not be worth watching with your kids on Christmas.
I don't know why you wouldn't watch Eyes Wide Shut with your kids.
I don't know. Just there's so many reasons I can't even really.
No, you should definitely just watch Lethal Weapon with them.
Let me just say this. I would much rather watch Lethal Weapon with my kids than Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, on that note, that's it for this episode of Movies and Marketing. Until next time, let's fade to black.
I'll be back.
He's not coming back.